This is a Harrison M300 metal lathe, and I'm going to go through all the components with you. Starting up here, your DRO or DRO. It's your digital readout. So when you change anything here or here, it changes the numbers up there. That's your X and your Z axis. And to the left side, where the housing is for the chuck, is called your headstock. Top to bottom, we had feed selector knobs, which figures out your RPM. Then you have a thread selection chart if you're using threads. If not, that does not matter for regular turning or facing. You have your feed direction selector. So it tells you if you're going to go left or right, and when you use that, that's this knob over here, feed control lever. Alright, then when you have your feed speed chart, it's going to tell you how much you're cutting in inches or millimeters per revolutions. Then you have your feed selector handles, so ABC, RST, WXY, and then you have feed selector dial. Now these four handles together come in here. So if we're going to go 12 thousandths an inch, you're going to select BR1X. So we'll put this on B, this one on R, this one on X, and then we'll come down here and put this on 1. And that's how you change your feed speed. And then at the bottom, you have your emergency stop. On the outside, I'm going to turn this off. That's the off position, horizontal. Vertical is on. Let's turn it off. And then right here we have our handy dandy carriage. There's a lot going on. Let's start at the top and work our way down. So this entire piece right here is called your cross slide. And if we come over here, we have a compound rest and your quick change tool post slides right in there, and it's tightened down with this nut. Once you put a tool in here, you move this, and you can see these are moving, and that will lock them into place by pushing them forward. Right here, they're wide open. Push them that way to lock it in. Compound rest hand wheel. So that's if you need to rotate it and it moves over. You see how it's moving to the left? And we have a clamping screw right here in the middle. There's actually one on this side too, right there. Clamping screw that clamps this radius down. So you loosen those up and you can rotate this, and this whole thing will rotate. Right now it's at a 90, but you can rotate it to a 45 or any other degree you need. And then the top part up here is called the saddle. Don't get that confused with the apron, which is the front right here. Apron runs vertically, saddle runs horizontally. Alright, let's look down here. So we have the cross slide hand wheel. That's the X-axis. That's going forward and backwards. As you can see it moving away. Alright. And then we have the apron hand wheel, because that's on the apron, right? So apron, here's the hand wheel. Cross slides that hand wheel. This will move the entire thing left and right. Feed change knob. So if you change that and you use the feed control lever, instead of doing a manual, you can do it automatic. So I believe it's pushed in, this entire carriage will move to the left. If it's pulled out, the entire carriage will move to the right when you flip this switch up and down. Then you have your half nut lever. This is used when you're using your threads, when you're cutting threads. So you pick your thread. Sorry, I'm not looking at the video. There we go. And as this rotates, you'll pick whatever number depending on the TPI, the threads per inch, and then you'll use this, pull it up to engage. It cuts your threads, then you push it back down to shut it off. This, it's not labeled, but it's an oil. You pull this out and it slowly goes in. It lubricates the entire machine. This red lever is basically your on-off switch. So you pull it up, it turns the whole machine on, or if you push it down from the middle position, it goes the opposite direction. So that will either spin it this way or spin it that way. But in the middle, it's off, like in its neutral position. Then we come down here to the tailstock. These rails right here are called the ways, not to get confused with the lathe bed, which is what the tailstock lays on. You have an adjusting screw here if you need to move the tailstock. The hand wheel, you rotate that, the quill goes in and out. So you have a micrometer collar, tells you how far you're going in and out on the quill. You have your quill locking lever, so once you have a part in here, you can lock it into place. Then you have your tailstock locking lever. If it's open, this whole thing moves back and forth until you lock it. When you lock it, that thing ain't moving. Alright, and that right there is your lathe. All the parts labeled. Tailstock, carriage, headstock, and you have your entire machine. Harrison M300. And one other thing I'm going to show you. This has 3 jaws, so that is a 3-jaw chuck. If you adjust this with the tool here, sorry for dropping that, they all 3 move at the same time. Trying to do this one hand. You can see them all moving out at the same time. Then, if we move over to another machine down here, this one is a 4-jaw chuck because there's 4 independent jaws. Now these move independently, so watch when I turn this one, that's the only one that moves. These ones are more accurate because you can get more precise measurement, or not measurement, of fitting on your part, such as this one here that is in a machine. It's pretty precise when you indicate it on a dial. You would set your dial up, put it on your part, rotate it, and you can dial it in pretty accurately. But when you have a 3-jaw chuck, it is not as accurate because they all move at the same time, and it's hard to push it one way when you need it one way or the other way. And then don't forget your drill. Last part. And that's it. That's your lathe right there.